Don't look at me. It's her. Yeah. Alright, better. Sorry, thought I had it set up right in the first time. Guess not. Well, it's been a while. Like a month or three. Yeah, like a month or three. I just haven't been in the fucking mood. A lot of shit going on. I've been depressed the last like 4 days. But yeah. This popped into my head one day watching fucking a breakdown of Avatar, Last Airbender. And they went over the four main like forms of bending. Yada yada yada. And then I saw a fucking picture of a lion turtle. And I was like, don't those use energy bending? So I wanted to do a what if rimuru was in Avatar, but I couldn't decide what bending to give him. And that was another dilemma, because I've always wondered, if I was an Avatar, what bending style would I have had? I've always leaned towards like a water bending myself, but nobody ever considers energy bending. But yeah, so yeah, this just came to mind. And Rimuru is one of the characters I know a good bit about, and I wouldn't have to like do much research on it. No, words of the wise, I really don't fucking want to rewatch the entire Avatar series, but I probably will. That's probably how I'm gonna end up doing my life. Other word, I'm probably only gonna record for around 20 minutes right now. See how it goes. No idea when the next part of this might come out. But yeah. I've been busy, so figured I'd give this a little bit of recap. Spend the next, 82 minutes doing this. That way I ain't gotta talk about the actual what if going on. Not. Alright. So, I haven't thought too much of this on how he. Because I don't want it to take part in the Slimy Psycho universe. I like moving it to the universe I take the ability from. So this is probably some more similar to what if Rimuru was an Avatar. So if you don't like that or that concept, then you probably won't like this video too much. But yeah, this is what I plan on doing. So let's hop into it. I've been contemplating where I should resurrect or transfer Rimuru. I've been thinking that I should probably either bring him from either right after Demon Lord transformation or like first reincarnation. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm probably gonna do it from after Demon Lord transformation, like I did in my What If Rimuru was in Mushoku Tensura. What I'm gonna do is he didn't have like the use of the demons, so he had to substitute his own life force. Yada yada. Stuff got mixed up, and he ended up getting killed and reincarnated again. But this time he's reincarnated into the Avatar universe. Let's say 17 years before Aang was released. So he's about Katara's and Sokka's age. So yeah, yeah, that works. So let's say he's around 17 years before Aang gets released from his ice thing. Now I'm not exactly sure on how old like Katara, Sokka, and Zuko are, but I imagine they're around 16, 17. Yeah, let's go with that. So yeah. So let's get into it. Story time. we're starting it off with rimuru getting into the resurrection. The demons are still dealing with the body snatching mage, so they do not have the opportunity to for themselves as magicules. So rimuru substitutes his own life force. In doing so, Raphael and Great Sage, trying to do it simultaneously, cross wires, and Rimuru uses too much of his life force and is completely killed. But Great Sage does not see this as an error, nor does Raphael, considering they know that Rimuru was willing to do anything for the resurrection, including sacrificing himself. So, Rimuru dies there, but Great Sage sees it, and Great Sage, Raphael sees as a waste. So, he does some yada yada shit and gets him, his soul to pass through. Let's say that, alright, let's call it the circle of reincarnation. It flows like a river. It flows from Rimuru's Tokyo Earth World to Tensura, and Avatar's next step. So let's say Raphael tore a hole and threw Rimuru's soul into said river and got him passed on to Avatar universe. So Rimuru is resurrected in the Avatar universe as a childling. Human, yes. He doesn't have many of his abilities, if any. He has a toned down version of Great Sage. He has... let's leave it at that. He has more abilities, but we're going to leave it at that. He has a toned down version of Great Sage, which he cannot use at the moment. And he does not have his memories. Rimuru does not remember Rimuru or his Tokyo life. He is average kid. But he is born in the Fire Nation. And he has blue hair. Neither of his parents do, they both have black hair. Which I feel like is the common. I feel like having a different color hair is kind of like... Actually, no, the Kyoshi warriors have brown hair. That's like one of the few alterations I've seen. I don't think there's anybody with blonde hair. No, there was that Moon Princess girl with white hair. But yeah, that's about it. So yeah, Rimuru is resurrected, and Rimuru is resurrected as a young childling in the Fire Nation. Let's say it's just a small village, not many vendors. There's like 3 or 4 guards that even watch the town. It's mainly a food, like a rations producer. That's how the town makes most of its money. They produce rations for the war effort, or stocking up rations. So, let's say that Rimuru is born to his mother, her name is, say, Yoka, and his father's name is Rio, but it's spelled R-I-E-O. Yoko and Rio. So, yes, and just for common ground, let's say they name her, let's say this name, their son Rio, and it evolves into Rimuru over time, because that's what, in the anime, that's the Reincarnate Slime, he felt that the name Rimuru Tempest was engraved on his soul. That is a line straight out of the text, if you watch the dub. I watched the dub. I definitely watched the dub first, so that line stuck with me. So, eventually, that name will evolve into Rimuru, but his surname is Ryu. Last name Tempest, just because it's like Great Sage thought he'd give him that. Now, his father is a firebender. Mother not. Rimuru does not have the firebending capabilities. Okay, yeah, shut up. So, Ryu, being in the other room and the midwives being with Yoka. Yoka gives birth to Rimuru. Rimuru, being child, cannot speak. And yeah, that's pretty much how it would be. 5 years, because there's not much I can really go over at birth, Rimuru. 5 years pass. His father is ex-military. Yes. His father is in the ex-military. Let's say he was a general, because let's say he was fairly connected. Just to, give something. But he dropped out because that way they can marry and just have a normal life. So yes, 5 years pass, and Rimuru walks, talks, and helps out in the fields. He's considered the average kid considering he cannot bend like the majority of the population. So he's not considered much. But he is fairly athletic for a 5-year-old. And his father, wanting a firebending child and still not yet knowing whether or not Rimuru or Ryu will be able to bend in the future, or if he's a late bloomer, is still teaching him combat. So he teaches him how to use the forms of firebending and the style of martial arts it uses, along with common sword techniques and spear techniques, because fire nation guards have been known to use spears. Yes. So yes, that said training goes on for 2 years, and without firebending, Rimuru is capable of stalemating his father at the age of 7 if his father doesn't try too hard. Like, he's about intermediate firebender level at age 7. But he knows all the forms, he just needs to practice. And yes. So, at this point, let's say that I know it would have been a while ago, but let's say that the siege of Ba Sing Se it happens now. Because I don't remember, it wasn't too far ago, but at this point Zuko's around 7 too. So I imagine this is around where Iroh's son would have died in the siege of Ba Sing Se. So yes, Iroh is currently fighting in the siege of Ba Sing Se, and Rimuru's father, being a retired general, is drafted into the war. Yoko thinks it shouldn't be too hard. He's gotten through it once. We'll get him back. Rimuru, on the other hand, is fucking torn. Because his father's always been his best friend. He never really connected with any of the other children, because a lot of them were firebenders. They all got that specific gene from their parent, because it was fairly common in said village for parents not to, necessarily have kids with other firebenders. It's more like it's like a power balance within the town. That way nobody would start running the town, because they weren't governed by any specific lord. So yeah, Remer's dad moved away, to fight in the war. Well, not a war. It's more like it was just pretty much the siege. As a firebender, he was fairly high ranked, so he met Iroh a few times, but he never really knew him. In that sense, yeah. So around a year passes, no word back from him. Few letters to Rimuru, and he still continues his training, hoping and praying that he will unlock firebending so he can go see his dad. Another year passes, no word. At this point, he's 9. No, age 10. This is when Iroh drops out of the war. Iroh quits when his son dies, and the siege would have had stopped there. But Rimuru's dad's climbed the ranks twice now, and he's gained and Firelord Ozai has requested, or, well, demanded, more like, because Firelord Ozai doesn't request shit. He orders Rimuru's father, Rio, to assume command and complete the siege. Rio, not having much of a choice, kind of assumes the position, and within half a year, Rimuru gets a letter in the mail saying that his father died on the battlefield as the gates of Ba Sing Se were about to open. He died to King Bumi, the Earthbender, and yes, and that's when the siege was ended, losing 2 generals, Iroh and Rio. So yeah, but Rimuru was visited by Firelord Ozai, Zuko, and Azula as an honor to his father. Ozai was kind of, displeased by the fact that his son, that such a great man, Rio, his son wasn't a firebender. So he was slightly disappointed. But after the Firelord Ozai left, and Yoko was kind of crushed, crying in a room, Rimuru went to the backyard. Well, let's say he went to the dojo. He went to his dojo. It wasn't anything fancy. Just some bamboo punching, not bamboo, just some straw punching dummies, a few logs, and that's it. He walks up to a log and starts fucking bare knuckle slamming into it with all those strength, and bloody knuckles come out. He just got bloody knuckles. He's crying on the floor, and he head straight up, he screams at the top of his lungs, and a light comes out of his mouth, a straight blue light, and it completely engulfs his body, and he passes out. Next day, Rimuru wakes up with slight memories of his past life, but nothing fancy. He sees glimpses here and then, but nothing. So, as normally, he goes out and tries to practice firebending, feeling depressed and sad. But mind you that, let's say Firelord Ozai hasn't come yet. Let's say he sent the letter when he heard the news, that's what happened, and Firelord Ozai said to come in 3 days. But he has to finish up a meeting, and, yeah. So at this point, Rimuru's practiced firebending for 10 years, 9.5. He's damn near master level. He's not like Firelord Ozai level, but he's Azula at the end Avatar level. But because he wasn't being trained by some mediocre person, he was trained by someone who was second in command after Iroh left the war. His father wasn't the strongest, but he was definitely one of the smartest tacticians and well-trained firebenders. So, yes, he starts practicing the forms, and in the heat of the moment, with his eyes closed, going through the motions, he just moves over and over again, completing the motions with eyes closed like he's known it all his life, which he has. He ends the motions, swipes off a bit of sprout off his brow, and opens his eyes. He looks around to see fucking raging fires in the dojo. He sees fucking black flames damn near everywhere. He's curious on the fuck just happened, but still worried about the dojo burning down. He runs over to a water bale that his dad used to keep nearby, and he throws it on the water, throws it on the fires. They don't go out immediately. He has to run back, get some more water, and put it out again. And then he goes out. He's sitting here like, and just curious, what the hell just happened? He's never seen flames like that before. So, this time he goes through the motions again, but with his eyes open. He sees that he's bending black flame. He's finally becoming a firebender. He goes outside, like leaves the dojo into the backyard, and he shoots just common form, firebends through his fist upwards in the air. Now, it's more concentrated because he's been doodling. No, it's just a rapid flame. He shoots in the air and it shoots around 30 yards up, which is good. It's pretty good range. 30 yards. Yeah, Rimuru is pumped, but he's not trying. He knows that black flames are peculiar. His father had red flames. Everybody in the town, he knows that is a firebender has red flames. All the guards have red flames. The only person with an uncommon flame color is Princess Azula. So, with this newfound power he has, he ventures into the forest down by the river and begins to feel out his new power. Now I'm gonna stop it here, and since I'm already into it, I'm gonna continue recording and get a second one done. But thanks for watching if you did tune in, and pieces.